Welcome back to the channel, guys. How is it going? Welcome back, everybody. Today, tonight, this evening, this afternoon, we're going to be making some Club World Cup predictions. You guys love the content. I appreciate it. I really appreciate all the support. And yeah, this is kind of the start to the end of the Club World Cup. We've got two semifinals, Tuesday and Wednesday. We've got first up Fluminense playing Chelsea, and then we've got PSG Real Madrid, which is the duel, right? The big duel everybody's looking out for. They're both actually be played in New Jersey, and then the finals be played in New Jersey as well. So maybe I'll go. I got to see. We got to see the plans. July 13th, so this Saturday will be the final. It's been a tournament, guys, that, just to kind of like sum it up, before we get into any predictions and breakdown, it's actually exceeded my expectations quite a bit. It's been somewhat entertaining. I do feel for the players, for example, Musiala. Like, it's tough to watch these guys that are, sacrificing an off season, really. I mean, I know they're under contract, and I know their clubs will be making a lot of money from this if they do well, which I guess if you at least made the last 8, you did well enough. And even Miami for making the round of 16, right? But I just look at it like I feel bad for the players. They're really going to get how many weeks off now until preseason? Like 3? So, it's one of those ones where the season starts mid-August and then they got to play year-round again. It's brutal, man. I feel for these guys. We've already got to do the Euro and the Copa America and the World Cup, and it's like, damn. But anyways, besides that waffle, guys, we have 2 crazy games. We have, in my opinion, guys, 4 very deserving semifinalists. Breaking down all 4 of these teams. Fluminense have been on a hell of a run. Defeated the team that went to the Champions League final, led by leadership of Thiago Silva, and then went through and defeated Al Hilal, who took down Man City, who I thought was a top 3 chance to win this tournament. So Fluminense have had 2 very proving wins. At this point, I've got the Fluminense fans in the comments, in my lives, in my tweets, because they jump in and they're like, dude, please don't pick us this week because you keep picking against us and then we keep winning. I hear you. You're right. I've literally pretty much predicted every Fluminense game wrong, and internally I've been feeling like there was a Brazilian team that was going to make a run, and I've picked the wrong Brazilian teams. It shows you that I don't watch enough Brazilian football. I don't. I'm aware the teams are good. I knew they would give a lot of these teams challenges, but I don't know who is who and who's the best in these tournaments. Obviously I said Botafogo was beating Palmeiras. That didn't happen. But anyways, and then Chelsea take care of Palmeiras, guys. It was a pretty controlled game for Chelsea. I mean, they had over 60% possession, way more chances. And guys, Chelsea have just been really, like, to me, having a good tournament. Outside of that one game they had against what was it, Flamengo, where they got cooked in a group stage, they've been having a good tournament, and they've been showing that they can take care of Benfica, a Champions League team, Palmeiras, a Brazilian team. So, now that I've seen that from the eye test, if we break down this this Chelsea Fluminense game, Fluminense guys are very not favored in this game at all. And if we break down and we look at how the 2 sides are going to line up, obviously you've got this really like interesting story with Thiago Silva, right? Because he was playing at Chelsea, and there's this whole storyline now for Thiago Silva. He spent most of his career at PSG. Went over to Chelsea, really helped them out a lot. I mean, imagine this for Thiago Silva. I know it's a Club World Cup, but it's a pretty big deal if he's the leader of this Fluminense team who hasn't lost now. Apparently, they haven't lost a game in 11 matches, guys. They haven't lost in 11 matches, okay? They're on a hell of a run. And, if he leads them over his 2 previous teams, because I do expect PSG to come out on top against Real Madrid, that would be crazy. Chelsea and then PSG. Will that happen? I don't know. The last couple games for Chelsea side of things have really proven to me that this team is just really a quality and technical and footballing ability of a lot of these teams above. They've actually been having a secretly really good tournament. They've been exceeding my expectations. I think I predicted that I thought they would beat Palmeiras 2-1. I think I did get that right. But I thought it would be close. And let me tell you this, if I thought that game would be close, this game is also going to be close. My issue with Fluminense is that I think the lights could be too bright in this game. I understand that they've been having a hell of a run, but when I take a look at Chelsea, I just feel like they've proven to me in this tournament that they're capable of adapting and adjusting. They could have had a meltdown after that Flamengo game, right? And really, Flamengo just played an amazing match. Now, Flamengo is arguably the best team in the Brazilian league this season, I believe. If you go take a look at it, this is how the table lines up. But Fluminense, statistically haven't lost in their last 11, right? And they've been getting a lot of good results, guys. Guys, they drew against Dortmund, okay? They beat Inter Milan. Okay, Inter Milan didn't have the best tournament, but they got to the European Champions, the Champions League final, and then they took down Al Hilal. And guys, I predicted Al Hilal to win because I saw them beat Man City, and I said, look, that's enough for me to say this team is going to keep going. And I thought Al Hilal was actually going to make a run to the final. Call me crazy. So what do I really know? But I take a look at it, guys. I think Enzo and Caicedo, the benefit if you are a Chelsea fan, and this is a real thing, all right, Caicedo and Enzo, this Brazilian style, this South American style, it's actually a very big deal that Chelsea are pulling up with those South American midfielders, right? Because those two are going to know what it's going to take in that climate, all right, to outplay and control this game. And that's what they did last game. I expect them to do it this game. I think Fluminense will give them a little more of a challenge. Definitely. I mean, this is not a game, though, that I'm going to sit here and really predict tons of goals in. We've kind of seen this in the last couple Chelsea games, but I think I'm fair to go with another 2-1. I think 2-1 is good for this game. I could see it. I think it's going to be hard to score more than 2 against Fluminense because they really do defend really well. They've had a really good defensive tournament, guys. If you really take a look at it, right? Al Hilal really didn't create much, and they created a lot against City on the counter. They kept them, I think, to under 1 XG. Guys, they kept Inter Milan scoreless. You know what I'm saying? Like, Dortmund didn't score against them, and Dortmund are a prolific attack, so don't expect a lot of goals. I mean, even for me saying 2-1 Chelsea, we could really be seeing a 1-0 Chelsea. It really could be that type of game, guys. So maybe I want to change it. Maybe I do want to go 1-0 Chelsea. Let's go 1-0 Chelsea. I think we're gonna go prime South America CONMEBOL game. I think we're gonna see a Chelsea 1-0, man. I think it's gonna be very sweaty. Could take extra time, but I think Chelsea will find themselves in a final. Guys, as for Real Madrid versus PSG, this is the big game. Obviously, everybody is looking forward to this one. You've got one team that's obviously the best team in the world, is really kind of taking care of business in every single game. I thought Bayern Munich was the only team that was going to have a chance to defeat them. Guys, I'm standing on business. I went for a little ballsy prediction. I felt like Bayern were actually up for it in the first half. We saw the Musiala injury. And as for Real Madrid, guys, we never really talked about the whole game versus Dortmund. I didn't have time to make the video. There was things I liked. There was things I didn't like. Obviously, I didn't like how Dortmund still outpossessed them, even though it was by a little. I want to see Real Madrid have more of a composer, and I know that Toni Kroos, I know that Modric are not replaceable, but I still think they got to find a guy there. Positives, Trent is already giving you Trent, right? You're already seeing that from Trent. Garcia is crazy. I want to say this, man, in terms of Vinny Jr., he better get his shit together this season because you know what? If he doesn't start producing and contributing to their success, I think he got to go for the value that he's worth. I mean, I'm looking at the team right now, the way they're lining up. They're putting Arda Güler in the midfield, and you might as well just put Mbappe in front of him if Mbappe's full steam. Have Mbappe be available to drift out to the left. And how the hell are you going to take Garcia out of the team, who is giving them goals, is a real striker, when you got Jude playing under the two? So I look at it like that. Real Madrid have a lot to like because the choppy ball is starting to really show. We're seeing something in this system. They had moments in the last game that I liked. I didn't like the uncertainty at the end. And I look at it like this. If they had that trouble against Dortmund, it's going to be even more against PSG. Now, a positive side for Real Madrid is that Pacho is out. Pacho is one of the best defenders right now in the world. He's out because he got a second yellow card or an instant red. And then Dean Huijsen is out. So that's a negative because that is also going to continue to contribute to this negative ability for, in my opinion, Real Madrid to get out of the back. He's been a huge pickup for them this season because you've even been seeing in this Xavi system his ability to bypass and get the ball up to the attack. Real Madrid, for me, have just been struggling really since Toni Kroos left. Vinny has been really struggling since Kroos left. He's not getting the service out wide that he usually is. And I just look at Real Madrid versus PSG, man, and I'm like, dude, I just don't see it for Real Madrid. PSG are just too strong, bro. I think it all comes down to the midfield. And like, dude, now we're getting to this where if I'm predicting a Chelsea-PSG final, that's going to be a good one, man. Enzo and Caicedo is going to be a quite the duel against, Vitinha, Neves, Fabian. But PSG, they showed me a lot last game. I mean, these guys got a real fire under them. I was seeing the way Kvaratskhelia was acting, bro. He was raging, man. So, look, the matchup of these two teams playing, it's going to be tough for Real Madrid. It's one of those where it's obviously very hard to choose against Real Madrid in a knockout style of football, but I just don't see it for them. I think PSG is just way too strong, and I think PSG is going to win this whole tournament. I do. I don't think Real Madrid is going to win this game. I could be wrong because Real Madrid have superstar players, Jude Bellingham, Kylian Mbappe, Garcia's turning into a stud. Arda Güler has been putting in such a good tournament. If you want to take positives away, Real Madrid, you've already made the semifinal of this tournament. You're going to play the best team in the world. And if you do win this game, I'll probably predict you to go on to win, because that would be so impressive if you beat PSG. I don't see it, but you do have the it factor players. We've got the Mbappe versus PSG storyline. We've got a lot going on here. And you're really starting to get some service out of Trent and Arda Güler. So I like what I see. Garcia's getting you a goal a game. It's a lot to be positive about, but this is going to be a real test. And I would say it would be a larger deal with Pacho out if PSG didn't got the midfield that they have. But ultimately, I just see that midfield continuing to run every single match that PSG plays in, and they're just so dominant. So there's no way I'm choosing against them, especially watching them against Bayern Munich. How well Bayern Munich actually did play in that first half, how they were able to, stay in the game and then really choose their moments in the second half. Especially if we get Dembele starting in this game, it's going to be tough for Real Madrid. So I think we'll see a lot of goals in this game because, Pacho out. But I think in the end, PSG will dictate the tempo, dictate the pressure. And I think PSG is going to win this game 3-1. I think PSG is going to win 3-1. I think Real Madrid will get a goal. I got PSG 3-1. So I got Chelsea 2-1, 1-0. Sorry, and PSG 3-1, guys. I'm not picking against PSG. There's no freaking way. And I've got a Chelsea-PSG final, which I actually think will be a very close game. But let's see. Let's see how it all goes, guys. Those are my predictions for the semifinals. I am looking for superstar performances to continue from that PSG midfield and to watch Arda Güler have a really good game in a Real Madrid loss, guys. Let's see what happens. PSG-Chelsea is my prediction for the Club World Cup final. Sorry, not the Champions. Not time for Champions League yet. I can dream. Thanks for watching.